Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm going to be planting up this new urn over on the west side. This is the Galloway urn from Unique Stone, and we just recently had this brick walkway installed. It's not 100% done. The end of it still needs to have a little bit of work, but I did go and get gravel to fill in this area, and I really like it so far. It's worked out really well, and you can see how much space I have around it. I know that was a huge question, like whether or not I'd be able to work my cart around it, and there's absolutely no problem with that. And it really does have a lot to do with what I chose for the center. This is pretty narrow, but I wanted it to be narrow and tall and kind of a statement piece that you could see down the length of the sidewalk, and I think it's really beautiful, and I'm so excited to get plants in it today. I am putting some things in that are pretty cold tolerant. They will last through the season, but they're those types of things that you can put in earlier than like your supertunias and things like that want more warm temperatures. So for my centerpiece, this is called Bright Lights Pink Osteospermum. It's a type of African daisy, and I love the pink daisies. I think they're so bright and so happy. These grow about 8 to 12 inches tall and wide. You do not have to deadhead these. What they do, and this is a perfect example, so they flush like a flush of growth, and they bloom. So you can see right here, this was their first flush of growth, and then the flowers kind of fade, and then they have a second flush of growth, and they do what's called burying their dead. So the second flush of growth covers over the top of the flowers that you would have to deadhead. Otherwise, you can if you want. You can go in and pop those off. But it's really nice because that's what they just keep doing all season long. They create new flushes of growth that cover the old flush of growth. So I've got a few of these. The next one I'm going to put in, this is called a bluebird nemesia. And these will grow about 10 inches tall, and they'll kind of, they're my filler of sorts. I want them to kind of go around these flowers because I think those two colors are really soft and beautiful together, but they'll also kind of incorporate with my trailer a little bit too. They're kind of a filler and a spiller. And this one here is called a snow globe bacopa. Look at how huge these flowers are. Now these we use all the time in hanging baskets and in containers, mixed containers. The thing about these is that you do want to make sure you have a consistent water source to your container or your hanging basket. They don't want to dry out. So you just want to make sure that you've got that dialed in. And I'm going to be setting this up on drip. In fact, let me show you. I'm going to grab this. This is going to be an important piece. This is a putty I have to kind of warm up in my hands in order for it to work. But we had a drip tube put underneath this pathway so that we could stub it up right here and we didn't have to run anything over the side. And then it comes out over here. I haven't connected it to a water source yet, but I can do that today. So that comes right up the drain hole, which is really big. But if you look inside here, you can see that there's a pretty big gap in here, and that's where the bowl rests on top of the pedestal. If I was just to leave it alone and plant it up, water would drain through the bottom of this container, and it would kind of go down the sides of this pedestal, which for some of you that might work out fine, but we have really hard water, and so eventually it would build up white stains all over the base. So I'm going to fill this whole thing full of this. It's like a plumber's putty. We use it, we get it in fountain repair kits. It's like this gray putty that's kind of cold because it was in the barn. So hold on just a couple minutes. I got to warm it up. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just keep working on getting this warmed up, and then we will plant it up, and I'll show you what it looks like in the end. So I think this turned out so beautiful, and I cannot wait until everything is full and big. And I love this choice of plant for this container because while these trail, both of these, they don't get enormous. Like if I put a super tunia in here, it would trail so much and be so thick that you wouldn't be able to see all of the beautiful detail on this urn, which is really important to me. I picked it out because it is such a piece of art and I want to be able to see some of that detail. And these plants will allow that because they don't get like carpet thick, like a super tunia. So you'll be able to see some of that detail shine through. And then I think the centerpiece will be really pleasing as well because it doesn't get enormous. It's just a very nice mounded, you know, foot tall by foot wide plant that I think the proportions will be really beautiful right here. And the fact that I can plant them so early when it's still a little bit chilly. The next 10 days we don't have any freezing temperatures. I got to 30 last night. But if we have any weird cold snaps, I will probably cover this with some harvest guard just for the evening, just to make sure that we don't hurt anything. But these typically can take some pretty cool temperatures. So anyway, I got the drip set up. What I did with that tube that was coming up through the drain hole, I ended it with a figure-8 ender, and then I tapped into that. So I punched a hole, put a straight coupler, and then put some 1/4 inch drip tube that has emitter holes every 6 inches, and just twirled that around the pot and then put a little goof plug on the end that stops all the water from flowing out. And then I used some landscape staples to tack it down into place. So I think that that will work really well. I still haven't tapped it into the main source over there. I'll do that later. But right now we're not having to water all the time, so I'm not super concerned about getting that done like right away. I'll water it in today. I probably won't have to water it for the next few days because of the cool temps. So anyway, just thought you guys might enjoy seeing this. This is kind of the first combination I'm putting together that has, it's the right type of plants that can last through the season. All the rest of my containers have been primarily spring, you know, with pansies and hellebores and stuff like that. And those don't tend to take the summer or look really great all summer long. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.